Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 22 of 2026. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can follow me on X at OBKiev, House of the Odds Breakers, House on social media / the Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NCAA in March Madness. If you'd like to support the Odds Breakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com. Click shop, become a member, pick any. For winning cappers to get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit the Odds Breakers and become a free picks and Telegram subscriber. The madness continues, my friend, and so do we here at the Odds Breakers. Had a good Saturday, 9-3, up about 9 units. Giving a little bit back today, though. This Nebraska game went to overtime, and thank God I covered the side in that, but actually got my bad beat on Missouri back, except I had Missouri as the bigger bet because it was a bad beat now on anybody that bet Iowa. So I did hit the side. I did not hit the total. It was going to go over even without overtime. So unfortunately, I missed out on the under here. But all in all, good weekend. And man, lots of craziness is happening already in these conference tournaments. Lots of upsets already. And how about UCONN? Man, they screwed themselves a little bit this weekend, didn't they? Well, they have a Big East tournament to play now, and St. John's is sitting there creeping a little bit, and you know, it's just interesting to watch. And you know, there's numbers coming out right now on all these Big 10, Big East, Big 12, SEC, you know, tournaments, right? ACC. Now, Duke is a massive favorite here at minus 330. But, you know, we're going to try to find some value in these tournaments and see if we can find a few long shots that could make it. You know, I mean, there's been some craziness already and some massive favorites that have lost. So I will get into that with Mr. Will Hill from VSiN and the Should Have Bet More podcast. Will's going to talk conference tournaments with me. So I can't wait to get into that. But before Will comes on, I'll remind you, our Survivor is out on Splash Sports. Huge opportunity to get in something fun, you know, get a couple entries here for $20 a piece, and you can take home the cash. What's fun about Survivor is if you pick the big ones right away that are going to make it far, well, you burned them. And so you got to be very strategic when it comes to these first few rounds. And what's also true is if you're maybe picking a big one because you think they're going to lose later and they do, well, that gives you a leg up on some people, especially when everybody goes out, you know. So that's interesting too. There's all these different types of strategies for Survivor. Check out the oddsbreakers.com/sports or just go to Splash Sports and find our tournament. It is sitting there pretty with many others, but ours is the best as round 7 to 8, which is the Elite 8. You get to pick 2 teams, and you also get to pick them from any sides of the bracket. Also, next week on Selection Sunday, we are going to release our March Madness NCAA tournament free bracket. $500 we're giving away here at the Odds Breakers to you guys because you deserve it. All you need to do is just retweet the podcast, and it's on X at the Odds Breakers. Shoot a screenshot, send it to info@theoddsbreakers.com to be qualified for the $500 payouts. So here we are, sitting here in March. Real excited to talk to Will because I'm going to be heading out to Sedona for just like 2 days with the family. Also be doing some college basketball work in Sedona. But it's a beautiful place this time of year. Spring red mountain action. Lots of like red plateaus and a very spiritual-like place. And definitely some great places for hiking. My kids are on spring break, so I got to do something for a few days with them, right? And we're going to head out there and have a good time. But otherwise, business as usual. Going to have a show on Thursday for Friday. Probably talking some more tournaments and more big games. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our wonderful guest, Mr. Will Hill. Want to be a professional handicapper? Check out theoddsbreakers.com, where we now have live odds and pick tracking. Click on live odds pick tracking, and you can start tracking your picks, partnering with TallySight. Once you develop records and a following, you can use that information to move to the next level, gaining all that experience in your sports betting career. Make sure you check out live odds and pick tracking at theoddsbreakers.com, partnering with TallySight. Now I'm very happy to welcome back one of our favorite guests, and Mr. Will Hill from Bear Bets, VSiN, and the Should Have Bet More podcast. You follow Will on X at not the Will Hill. Will, the madness is here. It's a lot going on. I've been at baseball tournaments all weekend myself with a little screen next to me watching a few basketball games. But, man, I'm excited. March is here. How are you doing on the East Coast?
All is well, man. Daylight savings is a good thing out here. The days are a little longer, a little warmer, a little lighter. Snow starting to melt. So all good things. Makes you feel like spring is right around the corner.
Yeah, here we don't partake in those archaic types of situations. Yeah, I don't understand why they still do it. But now we're on Pacific time. You know, we go from Mountain time to Pacific time, which I actually enjoy more because, believe it or not, I'm not a late. I don't stay up late. I like going to bed early, and I'm telling you, it's nice to get the games done early on the West Coast side. So that's always fun. We have number one seeds, my man. We have some serious changes going on in some of these situations. Big upsets over the weekend. I have to ask you now, who's the four number one seeds? Do you think they're already settled?
Yeah, it's Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida. I mean, I guess if Florida got picked off and UConn won, you could reopen that conversation. It's hard with the way UConn's playing and hard with the way Florida's playing to see that happening. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but right now, and I don't know what the market is. I don't have those markets here in Connecticut. I would imagine Florida's a pretty sizable favorite here to be the final one seed. And you know what? I'm sure we're going to get to it. Not only are those going to be the 4-1 seeds, Kev, I know to sit here and make the proclamation that they're all going back to the Final Four is like basically a 16-team parlay. I would not be surprised if those are the Final Four teams once again and we get all number ones. I'm looking at the way I see it, a very chalk-heavy tournament. I know, single elimination. It's March Madness. Crazy things happen. It's a 16-team parlay. Man, good luck beating those four teams. It seems like it's those four teams and everybody else.
Yeah, man. Florida and UConn just switched positions from 1 seed to 2 seed, and they're gonna be on the same side though. They're gonna be in the same quadrant, aren't they? You know, so it's not gonna.
I would think so.
And so, what we call it, 2 seed, maybe slightly harder to get there. You know, they got to deal with a 3 seed instead of a 4 seed, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter so much. I'm excited for that game. I'd probably be looking at UConn if that happens in the Elite Eight. Just because I feel like there's also a little bit of a revenge angle from last year. So it is cool to see that. I do agree that they will make it Florida. I'm looking for the market right now. It's not up at this moment. We have team versus field, conference tourney winner, champion, in Final Four. It's not up. It'll be up tomorrow morning, though. And it will be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Florida as well.
You know what prop, though? I don't know if you have this prop in front of you, but I saw somebody post it. I don't know if I have it here, but if I did, I would bet it. Will a 1 seed win the Final Four, win the championship? So will a 1 seed win the national title? Yes is minus 200. Boy, I would lay that minus 200. I think that there's value on that 200, on that minus 200.
Oh, absolutely. I think there is too. I mean, you have so many outs, and the 2 seeds are just not living up to the strength of the 1 seeds. I watched Duke, North Carolina, and I had North Carolina plus the 17.5, and if I thought this thing was toast. But the truth is that Duke did take their foot off the gas pedal. They could have won by 30 if they wanted. You know, they could have. It was Duke's just.
That was a roller coaster. I was doing the live bet show, and at one moment it's like 4, and you're thinking, man, can Carolina win the game? And it was pretty middle of the second half, maybe 5 minutes into the second half, and when you're catching 17.5, 18, and you're only down 4. 5 minutes into the half, all right, I'm in pretty good shape. You blink and it's 15, and when it's the 15, it's going to 25, which it is. So it went just from there. It went from 0 to 60 very quick, and then before you could blink, it's back down to 15. I think it was like a 12-2 or 14-4 run for
nuts.
Carolina to end it. Just nuts, and that's the dangerous part of laying favorites. And we've all, I'm sure, at some point especially when you're new to betting. Let me lay the chalk. This team's going to kill that team. Well, that's happens. Garbage happens in garbage time, as the saying goes. And, it's the intensity wanes defensively. The backups come in, all of those things that are, leading to a backdoor being open, and those were all in play there Saturday with the dog getting home.
Same thing happened last year to me when I had North Carolina plus like 13 or 14. They were down by 28 points to Duke, and then somehow they came back. That's the thing. North Carolina just hit a couple threes in a row. Boom, boom, boom. It was like you blink and it's back to 15 from 25.
Right.
It was insane. And I'm happy on the right side, but that's why you bet those dogs. And I kind of thought it was a disrespectful line, but Duke could have kept the pressure on if they didn't want to just start running clock with 7 minutes left. So that's kind of what happened. I think it still even creeped over. That was an insane game. North Carolina, I don't see, and ACC Duke is just a massive minus 330 favorite right now. I don't see anybody touching this team, but we'll get to that one. I want to ask you what kind of surprises did you see so far throughout the conference tournaments or in college basketball in general?
A lot of upsets in these conference tournaments. Last year it was pretty chalky, and by the way, congrats to you and I on cashing our Queens 50-1 to win the Atlantic Sun. I know it was from last year. We can check our account and see if we got paid on it. I'm not sure we did. That stinks to be a year late. But when you get upsets in the conference tournaments, Navy losing, Belmont getting buried, St. Thomas, the CAA had Wilmington and Charleston go down. To me, that leads for fewer upsets in the NCAA tournament because that makes the 12, 13, 14 games seeds just less powerful, less upset prone for the top seed. So the fact that we get upsets now, I think, leads to fewer upsets later. So those teams going down is a surprise. And the March is cruel. We love these conference tournaments. It's fun. They're fun to watch. They're fun to bet on. The volume of games, everything about it, I love. It's just not fair. These teams win their conference. They play from, the season starts. They start practicing October. Season starts first couple days of November, December, January, February, all the way till March. You're the best team, and you have one bad afternoon, one bad half, and you're done, and somebody else is going to the dance. It's very cruel to these to the winners of these one bid leagues.
Yes, it's very cruel, but it also makes it kind of sweet in a way. Belmont, Belmont definitely the best team, but all of a sudden they play this terrible Drake team that just caught massive fire. It's like, it's cruel that they're not going to make it, but the truth is sorry, man, you're not in the big conference to make it. It's like, what was that line from Interview with the Vampire? Because you are mortal, life is more sweeter because it's going to end. It's something like that in a way, right? It's like it's sweeter to make it, but Belmont, it was a team that I thought was going to do some damage in the NCAA tournament. I really thought they were going to get through this, and they did it. And look at just Austin Peay and Central Arkansas in the ASUN. The two favorites bounced in the ASUN, man. Yep. That was insane. I thought Central Arkansas, was going to take care of business. And freaking Queens, man. 50-1 we had last year, and this team was worse than the one last year, and their odds were worse. What was it, 10-1 or something? Their odds were not good. It wasn't nearly a
4-1. I think they were only 4-1. We talked about it last week when you came on my pod. I think they were maybe the third shot at 4-1, something like that. Which it's nice if you cash it, but it's tough. Especially last year. Not only were we a year late, but we were up 10 in the conference semis. With a chance to go to the title game. Looked like we were going to go. Had some leads in overtime. The game went to OT. So not that I'm still bitter a year later.
Yeah, not at all. We're not bitter at all. Yeah, we'll just keep thinking about them when we see those pricks in round one of the NCAA tournament. Oh God, it's like 4-1. Seriously. Anyways, Navy was the other one. I'm glad that I did put a little bit on Boston University, but they have to play. They have another game though. It's not even over. They got the winner at the buzzer, and that was pretty crazy. I feel like I'm rewatching it right now. It's just absolutely insane, dude. Freaking pops.
Clock didn't start either. I don't know. I don't know if it would have affected it, but the clock did not start on time.
No, it did
Who
not.
knows if he would have looked at the clock and rushed? That's a hell of a shot that kid hit from just a couple steps beyond half court with your season on the line. You make it, you win. You lose it, you don't make it, you're done. That's about his. And he just drilled the shot. But man, that's a tough one. They really botched the clock there, and not just by like a split second or a tick. They missed a good like 2 or 3 dribbles.
Yep. 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6. Didn't start till he was at half court.
ridiculous. I mean, this is not. Come on, this is not like a rec league for 10-year-olds. This is major college basketball. This is a conference semifinal game. There's a NIL. It's big business. I mean, you gotta. That's just ridiculous. I know everyone makes mistakes, but that is just absolutely absurd.
It is unforgivable in our business. Well, let's get to some of these awesome conference tournaments then. So what we're gonna do. Format, just talk or pass on some of them. Some of them actually started already, but I'm just going to kind of start from the top pretty much here and see just whatever FanDuel, our friends at FanDuel or at DK, FanDuel doesn't have it for some reason, DK will. We'll see who's actually got what for these conference tournaments, starting with the ACC. Duke is minus 330, man. Massive favorite. You got Virginia plus 700. You got Louisville plus 1,300. Miami's plus 1,700, and I've seen them also at 20-1.
Yeah.
North Carolina, I mean, do we even have to think after this? I don't know. What do you got for the ACC?
I mean, it's probably going to be Duke with their injuries and the minus 350. That's, to me, not bettable. If I was going to take a shot on somebody, Virginia just got destroyed by Duke. Why would that look any different? Could Clemson, I know Clemson hasn't played well, could Clemson at 40-1 make a run? You do see crazy things in these tournaments. It was just a couple years ago, NC State, which was a lot longer than 40-1, not just got home in this tournament, but got all the way to the Final Four. And if you roll that over, you're living on a beach somewhere. I don't know. I guess Clemson 40-1, probably not enough for me to bet. It's probably going to be Duke, but I don't want to bet Duke.
It would be Miami at 20-1. Now, I had them. It was one of my few losses yesterday.
Oh, me too.
Here's the thing. They played like crap the first half, and they fought back and played their normal game, and they should have, I would say, give them another 5 minutes in that game if it would have went OT. They beat Louisville, but then Louisville, got that 3-point shot, and they kind of came up ahead by 1 point, and then the foul, and they win by 3. I still think, Miami's weird because they didn't play Duke, so could that be kind of like one of those weird situations if they end up against Duke in that situation? I have to look at the bracket, which side that they're on. I can't remember if they're under Duke or not, but the truth is that I'm parlaying Duke. I'm parlaying Duke with some other stuff, dude. This Duke team is unstoppable, man. I don't see them losing the ACC tournament at all, Will.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they lost. As a parlay piece, I understand it, but not a habit I want to get into just because it's minus 350. It's again, they're probably going to win, but I don't think that there's value there, even though they're very likely to win.
Oh, this is not sharp. This is definitely not sharp. I'm probably going to put them with the team that we're going to talk about in a few. Let's talk about do you have anything in the American East? This is probably my most least bet conference.
No, we can skip.
Let's skip that. The American Conference, you got South Florida, the favorite at minus 120, which I agree with. Absolutely. You got Tulsa, who had a hell of a season going, but, faltered a little bit at the end at plus 270, Wichita State plus 370, and UAB plus 2200.
North Texas is 65-1. In years past, with their style, with the way they control the game and could defend, I would look at them, but it's not the same team this year. I agree. South Florida is the rightful favorite. I'd probably, if you made me bet anything, I'd actually probably lay the minus 120 with South Florida.
Yeah, I would too. South Florida is the only team that I'm going to be in consideration with. They are easily the best team since February 1st in this bracket. And what's funny is that Tulsa had their little run, and believe it or not, Tulsa is actually ranked 58 on KenPom, which I think is wrong. I think they're worse than that. I'll be fading Tulsa in this tournament. So instead of playing on South Florida, my thoughts are just to fade Tulsa on a game by game basis, kind of coming in here, just because I'm not buying them as the 58th team, and that's kind of where you're going to see some of these lines. They had a very easy non-conference schedule. Losing to UAB at home was a head scratcher. They couldn't even play with Wichita State on the road. Their game against South Florida twice, they got smoked. So I'll be fading this team as the tournament goes on. How about the Atlantic 10 with St. Louis plus 125, VCU plus 180, Dayton plus 750, St. Joe's 12-1, and it goes up from there.
I have a bet. It moved a little bit I only have DraftKings with these up. Maybe FanDuel gets a better number. I bet it at 50-1 just a couple hours ago. It's down to 40-1. George Mason just beat St. Louis by 30 points. They also beat VCU, so they've beaten both top 2 seeds. Now, they have to win 4 games in 4 days. It's one of those tournaments where everybody makes it, all 13 or 14 teams. Their first game, they would be a favorite. If they win that, they get Dayton. If they win that, they probably get St. Louis. But with the way St. Louis is playing, who knows if St. Louis doesn't get picked off in the quarter, because St. Louis has not been the team they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. They've started to show some flaws. So to me, you got a George Mason team that has beaten both of the big dogs, which is something I always look at. I mean, I like the 50-1 more than the 40-1, but I still think the 40-1, there's some meat on the bone where, again, you just get into a title game. You can monetize that ticket, and you got to win 3 instead of 4. I think there's some value there on George Mason to make a run. What is this? I think this is the 20th anniversary. Wouldn't that be a little poetic justice? 20th anniversary of their Final Four run here with George Mason. Maybe get a little Cinderella run going. But I like that number there. I was surprised it was 50-1. I'm still surprised it's 40-1.
I was hungover at Bally's in Las Vegas on that Sunday. My flight was a little later. We were watching George Mason play and watched him win that tournament, and or watched him get to the Final Four. Was it
the UConn? I think.
Yeah, because I went for the Sweet 16 week. That's what I did. I went to the Sweet 16 week, and I remember it perfectly with a big old headache. But it was fun, and
we were young then. We were young.
I was a lot younger.
College, yes.
It was back in the day, my man.
Calhoun was furious, by the way, because that game, I believe, was played in Washington, D.C., and George Mason had a big home court advantage, a big location advantage. Calhoun was furious. And I think Rashad Anderson had like a buzzer beater that rolled around at the end of regulation to send it to overtime, but then Mason won it in OT and sent them to the Final Four. They got destroyed in the Final Four, I think, by Florida. But, 20-year anniversary. Maybe Florida we get a little repeat here of a run.
Absolutely. Florida with that Joe. I believe that was the Joakim Noah Florida, right? Maybe not. No, actually. Oh, yeah. Yep. It is. With Corey Brewer. Remember that? Al Horford.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a hell of a Florida team right there.
They were great.
Yep. And they ended up losing by like 15 points. Could have been worse, too. I remember Florida took the 12. But this is George Mason was the truest Cinderella of all, because they literally made it to the Final Four, right? I mean, that's the real Cinderella. Don't get me wrong. We're going to call everybody that makes a Sweet 16 Cinderellas too. That's got a low seed or a bad school. I think even we kind of categorized NC State as a Cinderella, that one Final Four run they had as well, right?
Right.
I'm with you. I don't disagree with that. I think VCU is possibly better than St. Louis in a way in more of a defensive way. I mean, I do like the way St. Louis plays ball, but they've been kind of fading. They're all the way down to 40 from the high 20s in KenPom for that Rhode Island loss, the Dayton loss, and this recent George Mason loss. Mason's a weird team, man. I would rather bet George Mason than St. Louis for sure. It'd be maybe George Mason and VCU. I have not decided yet. Let's move on to the Big 12. Arizona's about a plus 100 favorite, with Houston plus 200, Iowa State plus 700, Kansas plus 800. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, Kansas with all their talent, if Peterson's in the mood, and I can remember Kansas, I believe Self has been one, and some of these coaches really care about the conference tournament. Some say, you know what, I'd rather have the days off. From what I remember, Kansas has been kind of up and down in these tournaments, but Arizona was odds on just a little while ago, so they're even money and a little movement towards some of these other teams. If I had to bet anything, boy, Texas Tech has played better than I thought. I don't want to even money with Houston. I don't want the even money with Zona. Houston at 2-1 is tempting. I'd probably land on Iowa State at 7-1, even though they're not in their best form. I just think if you played this a couple of weeks ago, it's probably like 3 or 4-1. I just think you're getting some value based on the recent poor play. And they won it a couple of years ago. Maybe they can get in. And, at least, especially, again, you get to a title game at 7-1. You're going to have some options for sure. Iowa State, I think, is the best bang for your buck. But it's interesting about Arizona. Florida's the flavor of the month. They're playing great. Michigan was the best team all year. Duke's the best team now. The team that's just kind of there that everyone just dismisses because of the past discretions with Tommy Lloyd in the tournament and the Princeton loss and all of the upsets and the disappointing appearances. Arizona, nobody is talking about. I think it's hard to call them a sleeper because they're 3 or 4 to 1. They're a 1 seed, but it's almost like Arizona is a little bit forgotten about.
They are forgotten about a little bit. And I watched that game against Colorado because I had a live bet over on it that hit. And I also took them at 8.5 live. They were losing to Colorado for a while.
It's a tough place to play. That's a tricky place to play. It always has been.
Oh, it was. And Colorado had that big center. I think it was Sebastian Brancic, I think. Or is it? It was Doc. Bangot Doc. He's like super skinny. Looks like, must be from Africa. He was amazing that game. It was just every shot he was throwing up was hitting. It was fun to watch. But, yeah, I mean, here's the problem with Iowa State. They're on Texas Tech. They're not even like a Thursday game. They have to start on Wednesday, and they're 7 to 1. Then you have Texas Tech, then Arizona, then probably Houston or
right.
Kansas.
You're right.
It sucks. I wanted to bet Iowa State, but you're only giving me 7 to 1. There's a team that's in the same situation that's 35 to 1 that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Yeah, I have no bet in this right now. It would not shock me if Houston steals it or something, or Kansas even gets hot, right? Kansas can get hot with that Peterson there, so we'll see. Big East, UConn plus 100-ish, St. John's plus 185, Nova plus 650, Seton Hall free throwing my spread away on Friday.
My under too, man.
Oh, plus 1,400.
Under. Yeah, that was a tough one.
And then you got UConn, losing to Marquette, who's 60 to 1, Creighton 40 to 1. I don't have anything in this. I think UConn's the best team when they're playing well, but they're so yin and yang. I can't bet them, and I don't trust St. John's really either.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Seton Hall team maybe more than the Mark. I'll tell you, I don't think Seton Hall's getting in the tournament. They're probably not. But with all these bubble teams losing, I like Seton Hall more than a lot of these teams on the bubble just because they defend and they could – they would give somebody a hard time because they play slow and they play defense. That coach has had success in the tournament, but yeah, it's a pretty easy pass for me. Wouldn't be surprised if UConn won, but how could you trust them? And you're not getting enough bang for your buck to trust them.
You can't trust them. Michigan, Big Ten, minus 135 to win it all. Illinois, plus 425. Michigan State, plus 600. Purdue, plus 900. Nebraska, plus 1,100. Wisconsin, plus 3,500. With UCLA plus 3,500 and Ohio State 71. And then it gets worse from there. If you want to get really bad, you can go give your money away on Maryland or Northwestern at 500 to 1. But that won't be me.
At not the Will Hill, if you want to tweet me and you want to bet Penn State, just shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to book your Penn State to win the Big Ten. I will book that at an even better price. Boy, not to play to the audience here. Wisconsin at 35 to 1. They won at Purdue. They won at Michigan. They won at Illinois. Wisconsin at 35 to 1 is pretty intriguing. I know they have their ups and their downs, but that number for their range of outcomes there is intriguing to me. If I had to bet, and I might actually bet this at 35 to 1. I like that Wisconsin number.
Well, you're speaking my language, but that's a proper price because they're in the same damn spot as Iowa State.
I know.
They have Michigan and Illinois, the 1 and 2, the first and second best teams, I would say, in the Big Ten are Michigan, Illinois, in that order. And Wisconsin's there. And Wisconsin is properly priced at 35 to 1. As a matter of fact, a money line rollover if you get Michigan, which I expect that. I don't expect them to drop to Ohio State or an Iowa team. You're going to get a massive number because you have to beat Illinois. Well, first, your first game against USC Washington, you can roll that over. Then you got to beat Illinois as a dog about 3-4 points. Then you're going to beat Michigan as a dog about 7-8 points minimum. And then you got to beat Nebraska or Purdue. Here's the weird thing. Purdue is 9 to 1 on the bottom side at the 7 seed. That's how bad this bottom side of this of this Big Ten bracket is. It's so weird to see all the fake teams out there, like the Michigan States, the UCLAs, the Nebraskas. It's like, it sure as hell would be nice to be the 7 seed if you're Wisconsin. Instead of the 5 seed. It's so weird how that turned out. But I love what you're saying there because Wisconsin is number 10 on Bart Torvik since February 1st as all in efficiency, and they got the 2 guards that can get it done that we always talk about here, right? It's guard play. in tournaments here, Will. And Wisconsin kind of creeped all the way up to 23 in the efficiency ratings. Nick Boyd, your Florida Atlantic pick, baby, he was on that team. He was on that FAU team 2 years ago. And now he's
3 years ago. These kids are all Van Wilder now. These kids all stay in college. Man, it must be nice just stay in college till you're 27. It's there's worse ways to spend your years than being in college for a long time, especially as a D1, high D1 basketball player and getting paid for it on top of it.
Yeah, there you have it. I'm Wisconsin from Jeffrey over here. That's what I'm saying, man. I think I want to take a shot on Wisconsin too, so we'll put that down. Whiskey at 35-1. Let's move on to the next one, and we have the Big West. UC Irvine plus 165, Hawaii plus 200, UC San Diego plus 750.
Hawaii's pretty good. I've seen them a bit. Sometimes you watch those late games, they can score. I like their offense. Irvine's good too. San Diego's not the team they were last year. You and I loved that team last year. They really should have beaten Michigan. I'd probably just take a shot at Hawaii at 2-1, but I do think those two favorites. I don't know that that's a bracket where we get upsets. I think that Saturday night before Selection Sunday, which is always one of the last conference tournament games, is almost kind of depressing because you almost have that withdrawal feeling when you have that. It's like an 11 p.m. Eastern tip. All the conference tournaments are pretty much over. You get a few on Sunday, but you get the idea. I would think it would be Hawaii versus UC Irvine. I think those two teams are pretty much a cut above everybody else, and I'd probably just take a shot at Hawaii at 2-1.
I'm going to take a shot at San Diego State at 750. Here's why. They're number
interesting.
Yeah, they're 100 on, or like 104 on Torvik since February 1st, and Irvine is number 128. Hawaii's in the 200s. They play good D. Yeah, they're not last year's team, and they're not as good as last year's team, and they don't even have the coach from last year's team. But I feel like they're kind of being forgotten about, and I like the way they've kind of made a little bit of a run here as of late. It's not a big bet, Will, but the 750 in front of a team that did it last year, kind of made it interesting to me. They're crept all the way up to 113 on Ken Pom, and they beat UC Santa Barbara just recently here away. They're a good away team because they beat UC Irvine, the favorite, away this month in February, or right last month, right? So I'm gonna go with UC San Diego at 750. Conference USA, Sam Houston plus 210, one of the best covering teams this year. Liberty plus 285, Western Kentucky plus 700, Kennesaw State plus 850. Then it gets really worse from there. What are your thoughts on Conference USA?
Nothing for me here. I'd probably, I guess I'd take Liberty at plus 285. Western Kentucky is interesting. I haven't seen these teams a ton, though. Pretty easy pass for me. I don't think I'll have a bet here. How about you?
Pass on this one for sure. I am out on this one myself.
Conference USA, when we were younger, Conference USA was like Cincy and Louisville, and Conference USA used to be like more just it's really a straight mid-major now. It used to be more of like a high major. Conference USA is not what it was, 20 or so years ago.
Yep. The Horizon already started, so I'm skipping that unless you have something to say. Ivy League, you have 4 teams. Their tournament is 4 teams. Yale minus 110.
Stupidest bracket, too. They got the 1 seed playing a road game in the first round. What are these people thinking when they come up? The smartest school, the smartest league, supposedly, the smartest conference, has the dumbest format. You got to make your 1 seed. You're going to send them to a road game in the first one. I know it's by chance, but not a fair format at all.
Stupid.
Ridiculous.
It's stupid, and it makes me like Cornell a little bit, to be honest with you. Yale's is the best team, but the thing about Cornell is they have a very good three-point shot, and what's the way to beat Yale? They can't defend the three that well. Not that, it's terrible. They're number 3 in the conference. The conference sucks, right? But they're number 220th in three-point defense in general. Now, they shoot the three extremely well, but they don't shoot a lot of them. While Cornell, that's all they do. They're 8th in three-point attempts. Most of their shots are threes. 51.5% of their field goal attempts are threes, and they are number 9th in effective field goal percentage. They're number 11th in three-point percentage. So they could jump Yale for sure. And, yeah, the fact that it's at home is freaking weird. But I will say that they still might be a dog. A money line rollover, maybe. I don't know. They're the 4 seed, so they're going to get like Penn or somebody, or Harvard, and they're going to be a dog again. So I just money line roll over a little bit. I might just put some beer money on Cornell. Let's move to the next bracket, since that one was not worth talking about with all the dumb people in the Ivy League running it. The MAC. Return of the MAC. Akron -115. Miami, Ohio, super disrespect at +190. You got Toledo 15-1. Kent State 16-1. BG 22-1. Anything there?
Boy, this is going to be one that's going to be talked about a lot. People, why is Akron favored? Why is Miami, Ohio almost 2-1? I mean, I get why they are. Akron's pretty good. I think Akron is being slept on, being underrated, but not by this market. So I don't want to lay odds on. It's amazing Miami, Ohio just continues to dance between the raindrops. I thought a couple times Friday night. I don't know if you watched the game, Kev. Kid for Ohio had a floater at the end of regulation.
Oh yeah, I watched.
I thought he was going to sink it. Then the 3 at the corner, the 3 on the wing, I thought that was going to bank home. He just didn't quite have the angle. That rimmed out. So they just continue to dance between the raindrops. I feel like they're primed to get picked off here. But if you made me bet it, I'd probably just take the +190, figure they'll be in the title game, and then go from there. I'm probably not betting that, though. This looks properly priced to me.
Yeah, it's probably. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of I'm looking for bets, and it's hard to find. It's just one of those situations. Now, wouldn't it be funny if like Kent State won it? There's all this talk about if Akron wins, are they going to let Miami High? All of a sudden, Kent State wins the freaking tournament. How awesome would that be? What would they do? They would leave Akron out and probably maybe put out Miami, Ohio in. What side do you fall on the boat on that? Are they in or are they out?
Be shocked if they're out. The bubble is so weak. These teams just continue to trip over themselves. Yes, their wins aren't impressive, and they've played nobody, but 31-0 is 31-0. I know it's not exactly, an ACC, SEC schedule. I get that, but with how bad the bubble is, if it were a different year, you talk about it, but come on, common sense has to prevail. They're 31-0, so let's just say they lose once and they go 32-1, 33-1. You're going to leave a 33-1 team out. They can't do it, especially this year. I'd be shocked if Miami, Ohio got left out.
I was expecting Akron like +140 in Miami, Ohio like +160, +170.
Yeah, me too.
I cannot believe it came like this. So I was not going to be cute. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'm the guy that's going to, still bet Akron. No. Everyone was thinking like me, which sucks. I hate it when that happens,
Yep.
And so that means I'm staying the hell away from this one. Miami,
Ohio is almost contrarian. I feel like everyone's picking Akron. I feel like it's weird to say Miami, Ohio is contrarian, but they are.
I agree. They're contrarian in our world, right?
Right.
And that's the one people we talk to, but we don't see what, the betting public
Let's
does
say Miami,
often.
Ohio gets in. What's the spread round 1? They're like they're a 10 seed, let's say, and they're playing Battle of the Miamis, which I've seen projected. Miami, Florida versus Miami, Ohio. What do you think that number is?
Miami, Florida is -5.5.
Okay.
I mean, at least. Yeah. I might be short on that. I know there's actually a couple efficiency sites that you can put them against each other and, see kind of where that comes out. I'll do that while you talk about the next conference just for hell of it, and I'll tell you. I think Haslametrics has it, and I'll quick find it. So the MEAC, do you have to say much about that? This is the worst conference in college basketball.
I will not be betting the MEAC. Nothing for me. Pass.
Howard's like ranked 198th, and every other team is like 340th or worse.
I know.
It's like this conference that just does not belong playing college basketball. It's so funny.
They'll probably be in that Dayton playing 16 versus 16 on that Tuesday night in 9 or 10 days or so.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's going to happen. The ugly play-ins. Mountain West. This is a mess. Utah State +230, San Diego State +320, Grand Canyon +475, Boise State +550, New Mexico +700. I was hoping to get Grand Canyon at a much larger price than that.
I like Grand Canyon. I love when they play at home. This tournament's not going to be at home. I had Jonathan Von Tobel on my podcast on Friday. He brought this team up and put them on my radar. I made a bet on Colorado State at 25-1. With their ability to control the pace, they shoot 39.5%, almost 40% from three. Could you get them to a title game and monetize that ticket? I just think with the 3-point upside, I love this conference and some of these other teams. I'll take a shot here. Colorado State 25-1.
What happened?
Be the Rams.
Another one of my 3 losses from Saturday. What the hell happened against?
Oh, me
Boise
too.
State?
I had them too, man. We didn't even consult on these. I had Colorado State. Did you have Missouri too?
I did.
Missouri.
Of course I did.
Number. Oh, great.
Oh,
Yeah,
we had an OT loss on that one though. I grabbed +3. Oh.
Kid missed a 2-footer at the buzzer that would have won it in regulation. It would have landed on 2. So if you got the best number, if you got the worst number on Missouri, you wouldn't have won. But I laid in the contest. I laid 1.5. I bet him on the money line, and tough one.
Those in Miami.
You got to win some of these coin flips to be profitable.
Oh my God, you do. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not seeing this place where I put them head to head, so I'll have to look somewhere else. This conference, the numbers suck. I'm sorry, they suck. 25-1. Yeah, that's the only bet I would make is Colorado State because I'm not going to think differently than I did yesterday. Even though I lost the game. I mean, Boise State came in hot. They were cold. Just one of those, 60-minute or 40 minutes of, variance right there. It's just they're bad, and their team they're playing, which is Boise State, is better, and Boise State's number crashed because of it. These numbers just suck in general. But it would have to be Colorado State, but Colorado State's not going to get a great spot in the bracket. I have to look at the bracket again, but they're going to probably play more games, right? And
Yep,
at least by 1. I'll pull it up right now. Mountain West bracket has Colorado State starting on the very first day against Fresno State, so that's why. So, yeah, they get 1 extra game, and that's where you're getting the money line rollover. And they're going to have to play a San Diego State team now that has their guy back because they were injured for a while. Now they're healthy. So, yeah, that's the only way I would look is Colorado State as well. The SEC, Florida -180, Arkansas +600, Alabama +850, Tennessee +950, Vandy 12-1, Georgia 35-1, A&M 35-1, Kentucky 45-1, Texas 60-1, Oklahoma 100-1, Missouri 150-1, Auburn 180-1. And I'm going to stop there because that's where the bubble stops. So I read more on this one. Will, what do you think about the SEC?
Can I interest you in LSU at 800-1? I think that's how many zeros that are. How about, boy, I guess it would just be, I had Jeff Parles on my podcast earlier. He made the case for Bama at +850. I probably go there just because the 3-point variance. You avoid Florida until the title game, and maybe you could just, shoot 43s and go 22 of 40 from 3 and win that way. Obviously, they're going to kill you on the glass, but I can't take Arkansas after what Florida did to Arkansas last weekend. I know they buried Bama a couple weeks ago too, maybe a month or so ago. It would just be Bama because the path to the title game is cleaner and the variance with the 3-point shot. They've actually played a little bit better recently. The market loved Auburn on Saturday. I don't know if you were following it. That got bet down to 5.5 from 8.5, and that was never in doubt. Bama just jumped them. Bama's actually played reasonably well here the last month or so, a team I've actually been looking to fade. Bama because of the 3-point ball, and I like their path to the final, but I don't love it.
Yeah, it's hard to love that. Oklahoma, here's the thing. Oklahoma's 100-1. I was on them yesterday. They won in Texas. They won outright. I almost hit myself a really nice money line parlay with them, Vandy. And fortunately, USC was my crutch on that. But anyways, the Sooners are hot right now. They're number 28th since February 1st in efficiency. Actually, no, number 23 on Bart Torvik's of efficiency. And you're getting 100-1. And, of course, you just got a lot longer road because they're playing on day one. But here's the thing. Arkansas, the side they're on, Will, Arkansas's got 2 guys out. And Missouri played like shit, and still almost won the game. Texas A&M's a little bit fraudulent. I do like Bucky McMillan. But being on that side, and then you play an Alabama team that's I like Bama. I don't like them at 8.5-1 because you have Florida up there. I don't like that. And Florida might be laying -800 against Alabama, dude. That's how good Florida is. So I'm going to and this is the other side of my parlay. I'm parlaying Florida with Duke. I got +104, so it's positive money at least. I'm not
right.
And it's not a sharp play like I said before, but I just don't see Florida losing here because now they got the 1 seed. They're not going to give it up. I just see Duke way better than everybody else right now, and especially in the ACC. And then maybe on the bottom, I put a quarter size unit on Oklahoma just because of the way they can get there. Let's look at Oklahoma at 100-1 and that parlay. Let's move on to the next one. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, the SWAC. Bethune-Cookman, Southern University, plus 185, plus 270. Texas Southern, plus 750. Florida A&M, plus 750. Alabama A&M, plus 750. A lot of plus 750s. There's 3 of them. Arkansas Pine Bluff, 15-1. Then it gets worse than there. I'm passing on this one, Luke. Will.
Me too. It's either Southern University or Texas Southern. And I feel like every year plays on one of those Tuesday, Wednesday date and specials for the playing game is the 16 seed. But and this conference usually is in that 16 seed. I'm passing. I don't have anything here. And if we're going to the WAC, I don't have anything in the WAC. So I think I fired everything I have at you. Do you have anything in the WAC?
I sure don't, but I wonder, this Utah Valley is funny because, you know, they got in serious like trouble with the conference because they were leaving and all the lawsuits that happened, right? And then they got the injunction by the judge to be able to play in the postseason this year. You just wonder if that fires them up a little bit more. Now, plus 105 sucks when Cal Baptist is plus 155 because Cal Baptist is a good team there, but the rest of the teams absolutely suck. So it's like, do I want to bet? Well, it's 105. No. You know, I'd money line rollover. Just, you know, you're probably going to get somewhere around there. I don't think there's a need to. Actually, I kind of like Cal Baptist, so I'm staying away from the WAC. But no, I think it's interesting that Utah Valley might have an extra chip on their shoulder because they had to have a judge allow them to play in this tournament. So it's going to be
yes,
it's really going to be fun to watch. So. Thumbs up, support from the Philippines. Well, look at that. We got some Philippine people there. It's the first time I heard that in a while. But hey, college basketball fans everywhere, we love it. Thanks for chiming in here. And that brings us to long shots. I mean, you kind of already gave me a few. Where are you going to go with your long shot?
Yeah, I'll use Mason, 40-1, Atlantic 10. They beat the top 2 seeds. They just beat St. Louis by 30, I think it was 29, 86-57, just an absolute beatdown on Saturday afternoon. You know what? Get me to a title game and I can hedge that 40-1. I don't like the way St. Louis is playing. I beat the top 2 seeds. I like that Georgia Mason bet at 40-1.
I do too. That's a great bet, and I think they can beat anybody in this conference. And this conference is up in the air. I don't like the number on St. Louis. I'm not in love with the VCU number either, to be honest with you. So I love that one. We're going to go with Wisconsin too, and I know you like that one too at 35-1. Why not? Let's grab Wisconsin at 35-1. We both have agreement on that as well. So real quick, Will, before you run off, you're a baseball man, and I love following some of your bets. So could you give any of us just anything quick on what you like this year from a futures or season win total standpoint in the major leagues?
Yeah, I love the Orioles. I don't know how much their pitching is going to carry them, but I think their pitching can be adequate, and their lineup 1 through 9 is going to be really good. They add Pete Alonso. They get some of their pitchers healthier. And remember, a few years ago, they were on a trajectory. You know, they won the division. They finished second to the Soto team. They were a team that was really good, kind of got there early, that everyone expected to be a juggernaut in the coming years. And last year was just kind of a throwaway year, a step back. Their pitching got hurt. I think they've got the potential to win, 93, 95, maybe plus games with their lineup and their starting rotation. And this is coming from a Yankee fan. So I think the Orioles, around plus 450, 5-1 shop around to win the AL East. I don't mind them flyer to win it. The AL, win the whole thing. If you get in the World Series, obviously, you can have some fun monetizing that ticket. Helsley, their closer, 30-1 to lead the league in saves. I'm very high on Baltimore this year.
Very high on Baltimore. I agree, man. It's kind of weird. They kind of took a break last year, but now just making some moves. It's like, where the hell were these moves, Baltimore, before, right? It's like finally They come through and actually do something. But Will destroying his Yankees on that side, no surprise, my man. That you don't think the Yankees are going to make it, huh? I
mean, I don't think there's value on them. I think the value's on Baltimore. The thing is, the Yankees are just so fragile. They're good when they're healthy, but Cole's not going to be there for the start of the season. Rodon's banged up. He's not going to be there for the start of the season. They're so reliant on really Judge. If Judge, who's big, he's getting a little older. He's got to, every other year or so, he'll miss a bunch of games. If he misses 20 or 30 games, what is that team and what does that lineup look like? So I don't think there's the depth there. I think they're too reliant on Judge. The pitching should be good. They should be a good team. I just don't think the Yankees are such a public team. There's never value on them. I don't think there's any value on the Yankees.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's not like you don't like them, but we're looking for value here. This is a betting show, so great point about that. Yeah, it's fun to watch people actually go against their teams. They're not homers. They keep it real. And sometimes that causes fights with homers on social media, which happens all the time, my man. But I love it. Let's look at Baltimore here at a great number. So, Will, man, thank you so much for coming in and breaking down these tournaments. Really appreciate it. Where could our listeners and viewers get your great information?
Yeah, should have been more podcasts, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which you're nice enough to come on occasionally whenever I need you, which is always a lot of fun. So should have been more podcasts. Fox Sports, I write, and VSiN, I'm on pretty regularly at Not the Will Hill on Twitter. So I'm around. You can find me.
Oven Fresh wants to know what you think real quick about St. John's in the Big East and about hair gel, too, for some reason.
Not a hair gel guy. I don't have any hair gel suggestions. St. John's playing in their building. I mean, it's probably going to be them and UConn, a showdown, which would be a lot of fun. Hurley Patino Part 3, especially after the beatdown UConn put on a few weeks ago. So I could understand value on St. John's, but I'm not betting it. I think that market, like a lot of these markets, Kev, are unfortunately properly priced.
Yeah, and then me and Will, Oven Fresh, me and Will both talked about this before we even came on, that a lot of these prices are frustrating, especially when you're seeing Iowa State at 8-1 and 7-1, and that side of the bracket is absolutely freaking ridiculous. It makes me want to bet a no on them at like something like minus 1,200 or something. It's just ridiculous to see that number. But yeah, it is going to be a fun tournament. And Will, you can check him out at VSiN. Will, thanks again for coming on. We'll be texting.
Always fun, man. Thanks.
All right, my friends. Well, for the most part, both Will and I think that these numbers are either right or probably not good enough, especially that Iowa State one. I was looking at Iowa State before the tournament and then, thought that could be a nice little, I wouldn't say sleeper, but value play in the Big 12, but not at 8-1 or 7-1. Those are terrible numbers. I did find Oklahoma at 300-1 at our friends at FanDuel, which is what I'm going to do. So the plan is I'm going to still take that parlay with Florida and Duke at plus 102 for about a unit, and then just a third of a unit on Oklahoma to win the SEC at 300-1. Wisconsin 35-1 at FanDuel, and UC San Diego to win the Big West at plus 750 for 0.5 stars. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We'll be back later this week to talk more college basketball. Have a wonderful week and go get some winners.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.